Alright guys, I am back yet again with another deck profile for Cardfight Vanguard Dear Days on Nintendo Switch. This time we got version 2 of my Dragon Empire Tamayura glitter deck. So version 2 is everything through the additional special set, so through a fraction of D-Booster Set 11. And this deck, like the other glitter decks, has received a pretty nice upgrade with new forms for both Tamayura and Ririmi and Rarami. So all three of the glitters in this deck have new forms. We also have a new fox art, and the entire deck has just become a lot more consistent and more resource efficient as well. So it can do what it did before even better, and now you can actually bounce almost your entire field in and out of your soul every turn. So a very cool upgrade for this deck. And as always, we'll be going through the deck, and then we'll show it off in one card fight for you to see it in action. So starting first with the ride deck, it is of course the same as it was before, so our grade 0 starter is Nine-Tailed Fox Spirit Tamayura. So when she's rode upon, if you in second, draw a card. Same old starter skill. Next for the grade 1, we have In the Calm Sunlight Tamayura. So her auto ability says when this unit is placed by riding from Nine-Tailed Fox Spirit Tamayura, you look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to one card with Ririmi or Rarami in its card name, or a fox art card from among them, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. And then of course this card is also a glitter, which does nothing in and of itself, but it turns on some of our other cards' abilities. So this skill is just a top 7 check, letting you search for a Ririmi, a Rarami, or a fox art to get into your hand. So as always, there's a chance of it whiffing, but that chance is actually pretty low in this deck now, since we have so many different cards with Ririmi and Rarami in their names. You're pretty likely to find at least one somewhere in the top 7. So most of the time this should be just some free card advantage for your hand. Next for the grade 2, we have Festival of Burning Tamayura. So her auto ability says when this unit is placed by riding from In the Calm Sunlight Tamayura, you choose up to one card with Ririmi or Rarami in its card name from your drop and put it into your hand. And then again, of course, this card is a glitter. So she lets you just grab one of your dolls back out from your drop, so usually you just discard one to ride into her, and then you can get it right back. So this card is essentially a free ride. And then for the grade 3, we have Deepening Night Tamayura. So she has 2 auto abilities. First one says at the beginning of your ride phase, you get a skill that says all of your front row units get power plus 5,000 until end of turn. So a nice power-up skill giving you 5k to your front row units. It is a turn 4 skill at the soonest, since it activates at the beginning of the ride phase. You won't be able to take advantage of it on turn 3. But every turn after that, you should get that free power-up. And then she has our second auto ability that says when this unit attacks, you can counterblast one and perform one of the following. Either choose a card from your soul and call it the Rearguard Circle, or you can choose a card with Ririmi in its card name from your soul, and a card with Rarami in its card name from your soul, and call them both to Rearguard Circle. And then again, of course, this card is also a glitter. So as for this second skill, you never use the first one to only call one card. You always use the second one to call both a Ririmi and a Rarami, which, with the upgraded consistency to this deck now, you should have no problems getting at least one of each doll into your soul through various methods. So you should always be able to do that. So that should give you 5 attacks on turn 3, since you can call them both out of your soul when Tamayura attacks. Which, thanks to the grade 1 versions of the dolls, we now have a way to cycle the grade 2 dolls back into your soul during your battle phase, actually. So even if you just call them directly from your hand onto board, you can put them right into your soul and then call them right back out. So definitely a lot more consistent of an ability than it was before, letting you be pretty much guaranteed to get your 5 attacks in every turn. So that is the ride deck. Moving on to the main deck. First off, for the grade 3s, we have 4 copies of our new form, Will-O-Wisp Daybreak Tamayura. So she also has 2 auto abilities. First one says, when this unit is placed by riding from Deepening Night Tamayura, you search your deck or drop for up to 1 order card without Regalia's piece. Reveal it, put it in your hand, and if you search the deck, shuffle the deck, and then you activate Persona Ride. So, like with the other upgraded forms for the other glitter bosses, it will allow you to activate Persona Ride, even though it has a different name than the OG Tamayura. So you can still get those Persona Ride benefits, and on top of that, you can search out any order card from your deck, except for your Regalia's piece, which we're actually not even running a Regalia's piece in this deck. So it can search out any order you want. It's not limited to a Fox Art, so you can search one of your Fox Arts if you want to, or you can also search out broken toys, whatever you need in your hand at the moment. And it lets you search both your deck and your drop, so it actually allows you to recycle an order you've already used as well. So just a free +1 to your hand that lets you toolbox very nicely to find any order you need, and again can help make the deck massively consistent. So then she's also got our second auto ability that says, when this unit attacks a Vanguard, you can bind a Deepening Night Tamayura from your soul to choose up to 1 card each with Ririmi or Rarami in their card names from your soul. Call them to Rearguard Circle, and they get power plus 5,000 until end of turn. And at the end of that turn, you ride the card bound for this cost as Rest. And then again, like the others, this card is a glitter. So this skill is just an upgraded version of the original Tamayura's skill, no longer costing a counterblast, so makes the deck a little lighter on resources as well, which is good since the grade 1 versions of the dolls are going to be eating a lot of your counterblast now. But yeah, you have a cost of just binding the OG from your soul, and it lets you call both of your dolls out of your soul, so you still get your 5 attacks in. But this one also powers up the 2 dolls that you called by 5k, which, since the OG Tamayura's first skill activates at the beginning of the ride phase, that skill will still trigger and give you the power-up skill before you ride into this card. So you'll still be able to get the power-up from OG Tamayura that will stack on top of the power-up from this Tamayura, as well as your Persona Ride bonus as well. So that means your Vanguard should be gaining an extra 15k in total, while both your Rearguard dolls should be gaining an extra 20k in total during their second attacks. So again, a very nice improvement over the original Tamayura, letting you gain even more power and basically cost even less than it did before. So a very nice new form for our Vanguard. So lastly, for the grade 3s, we just have 1 copy of the new normal order Fox Art, Scarlet of Fluttering Evanescent Life. So you can play this with a Soul Blast 2 if you have a Vanguard with Tamayura in its card name. And it lets you choose up to 1 unit card with Ririmi in its card name, and up to 1 unit card with Rarami in its card name, each from your drop, and call them to Rearguard Circle. So this is an absolutely fantastic card for this deck. The new grade 1 versions of the dolls actually have you put both your Rearguard columns into your soul at the end of the turn. So you should end with all 4 versions of your dolls in your soul. So if you have them all in there, and you have at least 2 face-up damage, if you ride into Will-O-Wisp Daybreak Tamayura, and you search out this card, you can play it, and it can basically be a 1 card reset to your entire field, since you can use this card's skill to Soul Blast out the 2 grade 2 dolls for this card's cost, and then call them right back from your drop, and then you can use either one of their skills to Soul Blast out the 2 grade 1 dolls, and then use both their drop zone skills to Counterblast 2 and call both them from the drop as well. So this card by itself will be able to reset your entire board to set up for your full combo again. I actually would like to bump this up to 2, just to have an extra copy, even though it's searchable for those times where you damage check this 1 copy, which I have done a few times. So I'd like to bump this up to 2. I wasn't able to because space got kind of tight in this deck. If you want to take out something, maybe a copy of Forktail or something, and put a second copy of this in, you can go that route. But I am just keeping it at 1 for now. Like I said, it is searchable off the new Tamayura. So as long as you don't damage check it, you should be able to keep looping this 1 copy, since she can grab it from your deck or drop. So that is all the grade 3s. Moving on to the grade 2s. First off, we got 3 copies of Twin Direful Dolls Ririmi. So her auto ability says when this unit is placed on a rearguard circle, if you have a rearguard with Rarami in its card name, you can Soul Blast 2 to choose one of your opponent's rearguards, and your opponent puts that unit into their soul. So this is a control option for the deck. It can take out one of your opponent's rearguards. It does put it into their soul, so it gives them a resource. But it can get rid of an annoying rearguard if you want to go that route. I don't use this skill as much as the grade 2 Rarami's, since hers is generally better. Although this deck isn't nearly as tight on soul as it was before, thanks to the new grade 1 dolls. So you should have the option to be able to use this more, as far as being able to pay for it. So, you know, if you have the opportunity to use it and you want to pick off one of their rearguards, this is an option to do so. And then she's got her Glitter ability, that's active if your Vanguard is a Glitter with Tamayura in its card name. That says, when this unit is retired from Guardian Circle, you may put this card into your soul. So a nice ability to loop her back into your soul when you guard with her. That will work if you guard with her from your hand or by intercepting, which we don't intercept with the grade 2 dolls very much anymore, since the grade 1 dolls are putting them into our soul at the end of our own turn. But if you guard with her from hand, it does just turn her into another resource and can help get her set up into your soul to call back out. So still a useful skill. Next up, we got 4 copies of Twin Direful Dolls Rarami. So her auto ability says when this unit is placed on a rearguard circle, if you have a rearguard with Ririmi in its card name, you can Soul Blast 2 and draw a card. So this is the definitely more useful skill out of the 2, letting you draw. So it can get you some card advantage, as well as that Soul Blast cost, letting you potentially Soul Blast out to the grade 1 dolls and loop them back onto your board as well with their own skills, which is something you can do with the grade 2 Ririmi as well. But like I said, generally I go with Rarami's skill over Ririmi's, since generally drawing a card is more important than picking off one of your opponent's rearguards. But you can use whichever one is more needed at the moment. And then she's also got her Glitter ability that is the same as Ririmi's, where when this unit is retired from Guardian Circle, you may put this card into your soul. So again, just another way to get her into your soul to set up your combos. So lastly, for the grade 2s, we just have 1 copy of our other Fox art, the Blitz Order, Fleeting Shine That Lights Life. So you can play it with a Soul Blast 2 if you have a Vanguard with Tamayura in its card name. And it lets you choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets a continuous ability until end of turn that says all of your opponent's front row units get power minus 10,000. So a pretty cool defensive ability, weakening your opponent's entire front row for that turn, which can be especially useful against decks that do a lot of multi-attack from the front row. If they have restanding rearguards or, you know, superior calling new rearguards to the front row, this will weaken all of them. And again, this card is a little bit easier to use now, since Soul isn't as tight with all the dolls constantly going to your Soul. So you should be able to pay this cost a little bit easier. And we are only running 1 copy of this card now, but if you search it out with Daybreak Tamayura, then you will be able to get a hold of it when you need it. And you can potentially reuse it multiple times, since you can keep grabbing it back from the drop with her skill as well. So just a pretty cool defensive option for the deck. So that's all the grade 2s. Moving on to the grade 1s. First off, we have 3 copies of Ladies and Gentlemen Rarami. So this is the new grade 1 forms for our Direful Dolls. So she has an auto ability that says when this card is put from soul into your drop during your turn, you can counterblast one and call this card to the back row rearguard circle in the same column as your front row unit with Ririmi in its card name. So whenever you soul blast her out, you can counterblast one to call her to your field, as long as you have a Ririmi on your board. So again, usually you just call out the grade 2 dolls and use one of their skills to soul blast the grade 1 dolls out, and then call them to your back row with the counterblast cost, making it very easy for you to build up your board. And then she also has her glitter ability that says at the end of the battle this unit boosted, you put all of your rearguards in the same column as this unit into your soul, and if a unit with Ririmi in its card name was put into your soul by this effect, you choose one of your units and it gets power plus 5,000 until end of turn. So this is a mandatory ability, so when you boost with her, you do have to put both her and the unit she boosted into the soul, which most of the time is going to be your grade 2 Ririmi. So that is technically a -2 to you, but they go to your soul, and then you can call them back out using Tamayura's skill. And then, you know, if you use one of the grade 2 doll soul blasting skills, then you can call the grade 1s back as well with that combo. So you can easily loop them back onto your board as long as you have the resources to do so. So this ability will allow you to give 5k to one of your other units when you do that. So usually you attack with the Ririmi column first, and that'll let you power up either your other rearguard column or your Vanguard for that turn. And if you can loop them all into your soul and then back out to your field, that allows your 4th and 5th attacks that turns to also be boosted as well. So those attacks should be that much more stronger. And that will also trigger these glitter abilities as well for the grade 1 dolls a second time. So that means at the end of that 4th and 5th battle, all those rearguards go back into your soul again. So you should be ending your turn with a completely or near completely empty field, which is also some built-in protection against control decks or whatever, since, you know, your opponent won't be able to retire or bind your stuff or whatever if you don't have any rearguards on the board. So that is a nice bonus as well, and of course you can easily reset that board the next turn using Scarlet if you search it out with the new Tamayura skill. So very cool abilities, letting you basically loop your entire board every turn and empty it out before your opponent can pick it apart. So next we have 4 copies of It's Showtime, Ririmi. So she has her auto ability very similar to the grade 1 Rarami's. It says when this card is put from soul into your drop during your turn, you can counterblast one and call this card to the back row rearguard circle in the same column as your front row unit with Rarami in its card name. So again, you can just superior call it from your drop whenever you soul blast it out and just put it behind your grade 2 Rarami. And then she has her glitter ability that is again very similar to the grade 1 Rarami's. That says at the end of the battle this unit boosted, you put all of your rearguards in the same column as this unit into your soul, and if a unit with Rarami in its card name was put into your soul by this effect, and you did not countercharge this turn, you can soul blast one and countercharge one. So the grade 1 dolls are a little bit opposite of the grade 2 dolls in the fact that the grade 1 Ririmi has a more important skill than the grade 1 Rarami, since she is the countercharge engine for the deck, when your Vanguard is using less counterblast now thanks to the new Tamayura, but with both of the grade 1 dolls needing a counterblast to revive themselves, you will actually probably be using more counterblasts than you did before, since you have to constantly keep looping them back to your field. So this being a countercharge option is very helpful in extending those resources. It does cost a soul blast, but again, soul is a lot more plentiful in this deck now with all your dolls constantly moving to your soul again. So trading in 1 soul for a countercharge is absolutely no problem. So yeah, the more useful of the grade 1 dolls, but of course you want to use them all in tandem with all 4 of your dolls in order to loop your entire board every turn. So next we have 2 copies of Stealth Fiend Forktail. So her auto ability says when this unit is placed on rearguard circle, you may look at the top 7 cards of your deck And if you do, choose up to one normal unit with stealth in its card name or a glitter from among them, put into your soul, and shuffle your deck. So this is just another way to grab any of your glitter dolls and get them into your soul. You can also grab the other copy of Forktail if you find her, if you just want the soul resource. But I did just keep this card in as a 2 of. I usually use it as my Vanguard booster, since you want both your rearguard columns to be filled up with your dolls. You can throw this behind Tamayura to be the booster for her, and you can use it to deck thin a little bit and potentially get another one of those combo pieces into your soul. So, still a fairly useful ability, and it can just be a nice card to fill in that back row center slot on your board. So next for the grade 1s, we just have our Sentinels. So we have 3 copies of Twin Buckler Dragon, just your standard Perfect Guard, as well as 1 copy of the Nationless Blitz Order Elementaria Sanctitude, which you can play without paying the cost if your opponent's Vanguard has triple drive. And then lastly for the grade 1s, we have 4 copies of our normal order Broken Toys. So you can play this if you have a Vanguard with Tamayura in its card name, and of course there's no cost to play it. And it lets you look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 card with Ririmi in its card name, and up to 1 card with Rarami in its card name from among them and among your drop, put them into your soul, and shuffle your deck. And if your soul has 1 or more cards with Ririmi in its card name and 1 or more cards with Rarami in its card name, you draw a card. So this order is still very useful, especially early game, since it can help you deck thin. You check the top 7 for each of a Rarami and Ririmi to potentially shove into your soul. If you don't find them in the top 7, you can put 1 from your drop as well. So it helps you cycle any of your 4 dolls into your soul to set up for their abilities. And also it lets you draw a card if you have at least 1 Rarami and 1 Ririmi in your soul, which again should be a lot more consistent now thanks to the grade 1 dolls. So you should be able to get that draw off most of the time. So still a very nice card in helping you fill up your soul, get your combo pieces where you need them, and help with your card advantage as well. So that is all the grade 1s. Moving on to the grade 0s, we just have our trigger lineup, which I am still just running rainbow triggers in this deck. If you want to drop some of the fronts or draws for some more crits, you can do that. But yeah, for now I'm just going 4 crit, 4 front, 3 draw, 4 heal, and 1 over. So for the crits, we got 4 copies of Burning Flail Dragon. Crit with a skill, then the ballot boosted, you can put it in the soul to give someone +2 key. So I don't really ever use that skill much. You don't really need the extra soul since all the dolls take care of that. And there's really nowhere to put him besides your back row center rear guard either, so that skill doesn't really get used very much. Next for the fronts, we got 4 copies of Blaze Maiden Parama. Your front with a skill, if your opponent's Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, get shield plus 5,000. So your 20k shield, front trigger. Next for the draws, we got 3 copies of Flare Veil Dragon. So draw with a skill, if your opponent's Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, get shield plus 5,000. So your 10k shield, draw trigger. And then for the heals, we got 4 copies of Blaze Maiden Rayoni. So just the vanilla heal. Of course, you can run any of the effect heals if you so choose. And then lastly, for our over trigger, we have our 1 copy of Dragon Deity King of Resurgence, Dragveda. So his additional effect lets you choose one of your Vanguards and stand it. So always a good skill getting to restand your Vanguard and get 2 extra drive checks. Now, if you check this on turn 3 when you're on the OG Tamayura, or any other turn if you just missed your write-up, but if you're on OG Tamayura when you check this, you can actually use her on attack skill more than once, since it's not limited to once per turn. So you can potentially get up to 8 attacks in that turn if you have the counterblast to pay for it. However, that will not work with the new Daybreak Tamayura form, since her on-attack skill requires you to bind a copy of the original Tamayura from your soul, And of course, they only have one copy of her to bind. So if you restand the new Tamayura off this card, you won't be able to get the extra rearguard attacks out of it. But you will still get the extra Vanguard swing and the extra twin drive. So still a very, very good card. So that is the deck. So we will go ahead and have our one fight with it. And I think I'll fight Zaxa this time. And we will be going second. And I'm going to keep this hand, actually. So we got to grab 2 set orders from his deck between Tech TN and his ride line. Alright, so we will discard that grade 1 Ririmi to ride. Our starter skill lets us draw. And then grade 1 Tamayura lets us check the top 7. And we find both our grade 1 dolls, so I am going to add... we'll add the grade 1 Ririmi to our hand. So then I am going to go ahead and play Broken Toys. So we can check the top 7. And we found the grade 2 Ririmi in the deck, so I'm going to add one of them to Soul, as well as the grade 1 Rarami. So we will get to draw off of that. So I'm going to go ahead and call Forktail to back row center. And we'll use her skill to check the top 7 again. And we find 3 different dolls this time. So I will add the grade 1 Ririmi. So we got both the grade 1 dolls and one of the grade 2s in our soul now. So with that, I think I will go ahead and attack. And he gets a crit trigger that is wasted. And his set order will let him draw. So I'm gonna let that one through. And let's see, I will guard that one with one of these Raramis. And thanks to her glitter skill, she will put herself into Soul. Alright, I will discard Rarami from her hand to ride. And grade 2 Tamayura will let us add her right back to our hand. So then I think I am just going to go ahead and attack. So he plays another copy of Howling Moonlit Night, so he'll get to draw again. And he has Overcoming an Eternity in his Order Zone too, so all his Shadow Army tokens will get an extra 5k when he calls them. So I will let that one through. Damage check all my perfect cards. And he's still just going with 3 attacks this turn since he called that one behind Bubble Mine. Since Bubble Mine couldn't hit anything on its own. So let's see, I am going to let this one through, I think. It gets a draw trigger. And I think I'll go ahead and guard that one with that front and that draw. Alright, so we will discard, and we'll drop the Folktail, I guess. To ride Deepening Night Tamayura. So let's see, I am going to call Grade 1 Ririmi from my hand over here. And then we'll call Grade 2 Rarami. And we can use her skill to Soul Blast 2. So let's see, we'll Soul Blast. Just our Tamayura's out for now. And we can draw, and with perfect timing, we drew Grade 2 Ririmi. So we'll call her, and we'll use her ability. And we will Soul Blast out the other Tamayura as well as Grade 1 Rarami. And we can get rid of one of his rear guards, so I'm actually going to get rid of that Shadow Army token, since it'll just disappear instead of going to Soul. So then we can use Rarami's ability to Counter Blast 1, and Superior Call her behind Grade 2 Ririmi. So we have our whole board set up, and we are ready to go. So we will attack with Ririmi first. Boosted by Rarami. And he gets a heal trigger, which he doesn't get, but he gets the power. So then we can use Rarami's skill to put that column into Soul and give 5k to our Grade 2 Rarami. So then we can attack with Rarami, boosted by Ririmi, who can just barely hit. And he guards. So now Ririmi's skill put that column into Soul, and we can Soul Blast 1. So let's see, we will Soul Blast one of these Ririmis and countercharge. And then we can attack with Tamayura. And use her skill to counter blast. And we want to call both a Ririmi and a Rarami from our Soul. So we'll grab the Grade 2s. And I will use grade 2 Rarami's skill, and we will Soul Blast out both the grade 1 dolls. So I get to draw, and that triggers both their abilities. So we'll Counter Blast and call them back to our board. And I'm not going to use the grade 2 Ririmi skill right now. And this needs a trigger to hit. But we got a crit trigger. So I'm going to give both those effects to the Vanguard, so that attack will go through. So now we can attack once again with Ririmi, boosted by Rarami, which won't be enough to hit his Vanguard. So instead we will go after Bubble Mine, actually. And again, grade 1 Rarami will let us put them into Soul and get 5k to grade 2 Rarami. So now she will have just enough to hit the Vanguard, potentially. Anti-guards. And then grade 1 Ririmi puts both them to Soul as well. So he missed his Persona Ride, and he did not have another set order in his hand, so still only get to call 1 Shadow Army token. So he'll get 4 attacks this turn. So I am going to guard that one with that crit. And I'll let that one through. And we get a draw trigger. And we draw a heal, of course. So I'll get to call 1 Shadow Army token. But it will gain 5k thanks to overcoming an eternity. So let's see, I am going to guard this one with 2 triggers, just to be safe. And he gets a crit trigger. And we have to block that because it's 2 crit, so we'll guard it with that other burning flail. Alright, so now Tamayura skill will activate, giving us the front row power-up for the turn. And now we can pseudo Persona Ride into Will-O-Wisp Daybreak Tamayura. And her skill will let us add an order from our drop or deck to hand. So I am actually going to grab Fleeting Shine that lights life. And we will trigger Persona Ride. So I am going to activate Scarlet of Fluttering Evanescent Life from my hand. So we can Soul Blast 2, so I'm going to Soul Blast the grade 2 dolls out. And now we can call both of them back from our drop. And then we'll use Rarami's ability to Soul Blast out 2. And I'm going to Soul Blast out Grade 1 Ririmi. And I only have one face-up counter blast, so I can't call both the dolls from the drop. So I'm going to Soul Blast out this Grade 2 Rarami. So that'll let us draw, and then we can use Ririmi's ability to counter blast and call her from the drop. And I'm not going to use Grade 2 Ririmi skill right now. And we'll just normal call the Grade 1 Rarami from our hand. So we have our full board set up again. So now we can go ahead and attack with Ririmi first, boosted by Rarami. So then again, both of them move to Soul, and we give 5k, and we will give that to Tamayura this time. So then we can attack with Rarami. And he perfect guards. So then Grade 1 Ririmi skill. We'll put them both to Soul, and we can Soul Blast 1 again. So we will Soul Blast out... let's see, we'll Soul Blast out one of these Grade 1 Raramis. And then we can counter charge one. And I'm not going to use her skill now. So then we can attack with Tamayura. And we'll use her skill to bind the OG Tamayura from our Soul. And we will call out both of the Grade 2 dolls once again. And again, I'm going to use Rarami's skill, and we will Soul Blast 2. And we get to draw, and I only have one face-up counter blast, so we can only superior call one of them. So I'm going to call the Grade 1 Rarami, since I can't counter charge again this turn anyway. And he perfect guards again. But we get a front trigger. And a heel trigger on top of that, which we don't get, but we will give that power to Rarami. And he's only got one card left in his hand, and we got 2 attacks, so we should get him here. So we will attack with Ririmi, boosted by Rarami, for 48,000. Oh, and it was another perfect guard. Well, he survived that one, but we still got one more attack. So Grade 1 Rarami puts both them to Soul, and we give 5k to Grade 2 Rarami. And we'll attack one more time for 55,000. And he's got to let it through. And we got him with that one. So there you go. That was version 2 of my Tamayura deck. Very fun deck to play, letting you constantly bounce your dolls in and out of your Soul. So I will be back soon with more deck profiles. Next up, I will be doing one more glitter deck with version 2 of Chaos. So until then, I guess that's all for this video. So lots of luck to you and yours.